Welcome to We Time Convo. I'm your host, Liza, aka Auntie Liza, and today I am joined by our thoughtful guest hosts, Kaidon and Isaiah. This episode's all about those deep questions, the kind that make you pause, reflect, and maybe squirm just a little. Isaiah and Kaidon came ready with the real ones: love, regrets, healing, and identity. And I'm answering from the heart, one honest story at a time. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I have two repeat guests here with me, our young adults, Kaidon. Say hello, Kaidon.
Hello.
And Isaiah.
Hi.
And today we're kind of gonna have a Q&A, or what is it? AMA? Ask an Adult Day or episode. So we went in saying, you guys can ask me anything you want. It's unfiltered. And I will answer as truthfully as I can. So Isaiah has a question for me.
Okay, Auntie Liza. If your life was a movie, what would be the title and genre?
Oh my God. I feel like it would be a Wes Anderson movie.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because, very like colorful, all over the place. Doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does. kind of thing, like very, elements. Like odd characters. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. I don't know if you guys are, but I can relate to every single movie that I watch. Just very quirky, right? Very quirky, out there, just unpredictable, right? Kind of thing. So I feel like that would be my life and how a movie would portray me, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me, Kaidon?
What was your upbringing and how did it shape you into the person you are?
That's a good one. I was pretty much a latchkey kid growing up. Do you know what a latchkey kid is?
Like the parents leave them?
Yeah.
And they just chill.
Yeah. And I think I can speak a lot for kids my age that grew up in the 90s, was that I had working parents that worked full time. It was me. I was the oldest and I had two younger siblings, and it was very normal to leave your kids at home. I remember being home. So my parents worked full time. I remember being home as early as 12 years old with my younger siblings and taking care of them. We would go outside and play, and my parents never knew what the hell we were doing or where we were at. They just knew that we would be home at night. And if we didn't come home, then that's when they would start to worry, kind of thing. My parents, I don't want to say that my parents I wasn't super spoiled. They weren't super rich. They did buy me a car when I turned 18 because I didn't want the 18th birthday party kind of thing. So I want to say that I grew up very, I don't want to say I grew up privileged, but I grew up very lucky. But I did, my parents were the kind of parents that were like, whatever you want on your own, we'll provide a home for you. We'll provide a car. We'll provide you food, like basic living things they provided for me. But anything else I wanted, like if I wanted, expensive clothes or wanted to go out to eat with my friends, I had to work on my own. So I started working when I was 14, made my own money, became somewhat of a responsible adult. I was a bit of a party animal in high school. I'm not going to lie about that. And I didn't really care about academics because my parents really, I don't want to say they didn't care, but they just let me do whatever I want.
Didn't push you?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, as long as the cops weren't at the door, I was fine. I was good. So I, didn't do well in high school, which was fine. I actually graduated, which was very surprising for me. I was like, wow, I graduated. So I had that kind of life, and I did become pregnant at a young age. I had my oldest daughter, Haley, when I was 19. And I think she saved my life, because I think that if I didn't have her, I probably would just continue partying. I didn't really care about going to college, but because I had her at a young age, I had to become an adult pretty quickly. I went to college for a little bit. I didn't finish it because I, had to provide for her. But I was forced to grow up and shape up and become an adult, before I was even of drinking age, So I think that's what shaped me to become the person I am now, is just kind of made me realize that, I'm not living up for myself anymore. I have 3 kids now and I live for them. And even though I constantly say that my kids drive me crazy, and I wish I didn't have kids at such a young age, I think that made me realize that that's what my life is. And I hate it sometimes, but I love it at the same time. So I love being a mom, and that's just my whole world. But I'm also, at 44, at that age where I'm discovering myself now. I actually am going back to college in the summer.
Oh, nice.
I just want to finish that for my kids, for myself, just to show them that you can go back to college at any age. I took swimming lessons a couple of years ago because I've always wanted to learn how to swim. I still don't know how to swim, but I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I taught myself how to skateboard because that was something. Yeah. So everything that I wanted to learn how to do as a young adult that I didn't get a chance to, I'm doing now. And I'm learning how to play golf. Like every month I'm trying to teach myself to learn to step out of my comfort zone and do something new every month. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. So thank you for that question. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
I do. Yeah. I regret not doing well in school because, I look at everyone now and seeing how well they're doing, and I'm just being more involved in activities because, Ava is doing that and she's having so much fun. I do regret having my oldest daughter at such a young age only because I didn't really give her the life that I gave my other younger two kids. I was working 2 jobs, so I didn't see her much. She was always with her grandma or her parents. So, I didn't have time to be in the PTA like I was with, Ava and how I met your guys' mom. So things like that. She just didn't have that same upbringing that I had with the other 2. But other than that, like, I think that everything, whether it be bad or good, that has happened in my life, I don't really regret because I've learned from it and I've grown from it. And even now I still make mistakes as an adult, and there's nothing else to do but learn from it and grow from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that mindset of, look where you are now, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the same person if you didn't do the things that you did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I definitely wouldn't step out of my comfort zone to do all these things, now as an adult. And
that's cool.
You can be 50, 60 years old and want to get on a skateboard. If you want to do it. You might not have the same body or bones as a 20-year-old. So just be a little careful. Yeah.
Yeah. So what have your past relationships taught you about yourself?
It's taught me that I've always been a people pleaser. I've always, I've been a partner and a mom for many, many, many years. And it's taught me to be okay to be selfish. I am a people pleaser to the T. Like, I've grown up thinking that the only way people would love me and accept me is if I do what made them happy and not me. So, and then I got out of my relationship with my girl's dad, and I just was like, I don't even know who I am. I don't know who I am. All I know what to do is to make other people happy but myself. So I'm, coming out of that shell because my kids are older now. I'm not in a relationship. I kind of was, in this dark hole because I really didn't have an identity. Because my identity was to be a mom and be a partner and find a husband, and being in and out of relationships and dating has taught me to be a stronger person because I didn't know how to put down boundaries. I didn't know how to speak up for myself and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. This is what I need from you. And this is what you have to give me. Now that I've, been out in the dating world, my list of boundaries just get longer and longer.
Oh, really?
And I just realized that I am way more worth more than the bare minimum.
Like, don't settle.
Yeah. And I'm not going to settle. And I would honestly rather be alone. And I know humans aren't, meant to be alone forever, but I would rather be happy alone with my friends and my kids and my family than somebody that's not going to give me what I deserve in life.
Yeah.
And I know that kind of sounds like, oh, damn, like Auntie Liza.
No, I think that's good to have your self-worth.
Exactly. And I feel like, I hope you guys as young adults feel that way as well. Yeah. That you shouldn't settle for anything less than what you guys deserve. So, and I hope that I instill that in my kids as well. But I've been in horrible relationships. I've been in loving relationships, but every single relationship that I've had, even if it was one date, even if it was 20 dates, I've learned from. And I honestly feel like the universe has brought people in my life, whether it be for 5 minutes, 5 years, 20 years, for a reason. So yeah, relationships come and go, but they always leave something with me for sure. Yeah.
No, I feel the same way about like the people pleasing.
Yeah.
It's hard to not change yourself to make other people like you more,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But if like you're changing yourself too much, then you lose your own identity.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Just don't conform yourself to please other people. Do you agree with that, Kaidon?
Yeah, I think it's good to be like comfortable with yourself, because then I feel like that would make the relationship a bit stronger instead of just like kind of like chasing,
Right.
chasing this way or that way. Instead, you're like, you work together, right?
Exactly.
If like,
Have you guys ever been in that situation where you had to conform yourself to please other people, and not just in relationships, but like for your parents or for friends?
yeah, I think so. Like, what you mean, like, people please?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's normal.
Do you do that a lot for your parents, you think so, or for more for friends or relationships?
I think I used to be like a pretty decent people pleaser, but I think I'm definitely less of it
Yeah.
for like my friends, especially my parents, a little bit still.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah.
I think with parents it's different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to please in some sort of way, especially if they're paying your bills, right, Isaiah?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I feel like I do it like passively, probably more so with people I don't know. Like when I went to college and I was meeting all these new people, I don't know, I feel like I was like, oh my God, like I just like autopiloted on people pleasing, I think.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard if, especially you've been that person to do that for so many years, to get yourself out of that routine for sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions for me, Kaidon? I'm sure Isaiah does.
Okay, so wait, you mentioned like what you deserve. Like, what do you think that is? And is there any like specific things that from past relationships you think is like something that you learned that you deserve?
I mean, and honestly, I could sound like I'm being very rash about what I deserve, and it has nothing to do with materialistic things. Like, I don't deserve, like, I don't want or a $50,000 purse, or
does money matter a lot to you?
No, it does actually, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter at all. Like, I can find somebody that can works at Taco Bell for all I care, just as long as they don't ask me for money and they can like provide for themselves. I think the biggest thing for me that I think I deserve is basically reciprocity. What I give you, just give it back to me. Communication, like, communicate with me, tell me if what's bothering you. Let's have an open communication. If there's something that I do that you don't like, vice versa, let's sit down and talk about it. It's just very, very simple. And I know it sounds like the bare minimum things, but to be honest, it's very, very hard for a lot of men, or a lot of men that I come across, to provide bare minimum things for me, and honestly, what I look for in the next partner is for someone to literally just be obsessed with me. Basically just love me and all of me and everything that I do. And I don't think it takes a lot to be obsessed with me, to be honest. And it's really, really, really hard. And I've said this before, and I don't know if I've said this in this podcast, is that when you are dating this late in age, in your 30s, 40s, any person or significant other that you're going to come across is going to either have had come from a relationship or some type of unresolved trauma. Right. And there's a reason why they're single at this age. And we're really all just looking for a partner. And that's it. And that's why I don't fault anybody. I don't hate anybody that has hurt me or has done me wrong or whatever. It's because we just all are looking for the same thing. Just for some reason or the other, it just doesn't work out. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I do have a long list of things. And, one of them is just to basically just be a gentleman, open my doors for me, like things like that. And it's minimum. It's the bare minimum. Like, just be a gentleman. Just, and you know what? Listen to me. Like just the small things, like in passing, like I recently went on a date with somebody that the first date I had lost my jean jacket. And I was really bummed about it, 'cause I'm like, I really like that jean jacket. And on our third date, he bought me a new jacket.
Whoa.
You know, and I thought that was really, really,
How much was
really.
the jacket?
Huh? What?
How much was the jacket?
You know what? It actually was a better brand jacket and it was better quality, but it wasn't that much. It was like, you know, my jacket that I had was from Gap, probably like $50 jacket, and this was from Abercrombie.
Third date.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay.
leveled up a little bit, but I thought that was like the most thoughtful thing.
So
Dang,
what
where's
was
this
wrong with
guy
him?
now? Yeah.
You know, and again, it was one of those things where we were both, and he was, you know what? He was a great guy. Like, he lived an hour away. He never wanted me. We went on only 3 dates, but he never wanted me to
So you
drive.
took the jacket and left.
Yeah. No, okay. So he never wanted me to drive all the way to him because he felt like he was always willing to come pick me up, bring me back to where he was. He always opened the doors, always paid for everything. We just had a lot of fun, but at the end, I think, again, it comes down to age. You know, we just realized that we both wanted different things in life, and you know what? And that's okay. What I learned from dating this guy was that there are men out there that are emotionally intelligent, and that's one of the things is
Yeah, me and Isaiah.
Listen, ladies, yes, you know, I think the number one thing for me is that I want emotional intelligence, because it's hard to find and it's not out there. And by having emotional intelligence is listening to somebody, like listening to your partner and knowing that there's something wrong and talking to them about it and not avoiding things. Because people do avoid their feelings, and that's not what I'm looking for. Like, I want open communication. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. When you come to your like partner about something and you want an emotionally intelligent like response, do you seek like assurance or like advice, or do you want them to share something about themselves? Like, what kind of things are you looking for?
So and each to their own, but I do seek a lot of reassurance and validation, because I've just have dated a lot of emotionally unavailable men, avoidant men that kept me guessing all the time, whether they like me or they still want to be in this, which is horrible for your mind. It's very horrible to be in that mindset. But I think somebody that's going to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm not going to leave you. I still like you. You know, like, that's all I need. And I think validation and reassurance is very important to a woman. And it could be not important to women. But for me, I think in general, it's very important. And it could be just like a text. We have phones now. It could be a text like, hey, I'm thinking about you today, but I'm so busy. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't get a chance to talk to you, or we didn't get a chance to connect much as I'd like to. And that's like, okay, like, that's great. That's amazing. So I do value things like that. And again, for you guys, you guys are listening because you guys are like the most emotionally intelligent
so
men
nice.
here. I think you're sitting there like, that's it.
I'll tag myself later.
Yeah. I think you guys are sitting there thinking like, wow, that's it. But it's hard. It is hard for a lot of men and women to do. So yeah.
Do you think that like that need for like reassurance and stuff comes from like past trauma?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I talked about my upbringing. You know, my parents were home a lot. Not to say that they didn't love me or love my siblings. They just loved us differently. And I don't know if it's because it's like a cultural thing. Like, they never hugged me and like told me they loved me, or they never told me that they were proud of me. I knew that they were, but they just didn't do that for us. And I felt like I had to fight a lot for their attention. And I think that's why I rebelled a lot growing up, was because the only way that they actually like paid attention to me was when I was getting into trouble, right? They would like, Liza, like, you need to stop doing that. And so I felt like the only way for me to get anyone's attention was to
Get in trouble,
you know? And like, I always had to fight for attention. And because I've gone through a lot, and I do have abandonment issues, not necessarily from my parents, but from friends, from relationships, is that I just need to know that you're not going to leave. And if you do leave, like, we need to have a conversation about it, you know? So, and I think that's one thing that a lot of young adults actually should learn about as well, is like trauma in your life, because it could be something as simple as your parent simply just not giving you any attention or love or any reassurance. That is something that can, obviously in my case, that is something that can affect relationships in life. And you don't really think that that's what it is, or that's a trauma, until you go to therapy, right? You go to therapy and they're like, yeah, do you realize that you are anxious a lot with relationships because you have your inner child, they talk about inner child work, but as a child, you weren't given that love, and you think, okay, just because I was given a home, my parents paid for things, my parents provided for me, that could be love for you, but emotionally it wasn't enough. So things like that, I think that's very important for young adults and Kaidon, I'm really like surprised that you brought up, unresolved trauma, because it's things that people avoid is unresolved trauma, and they don't does. So I'm like really amazed that you know what unresolved trauma is.
So how do you balance independence with intimacy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, okay, define that more.
So what your boundaries are, and like sending texts if you're not available, or how independent of a relationship do you desire, like in terms of how often you're communicating, or if it's okay, like, or do you share like locations, and like are you always checking up on that, and because I feel like it's a very dependent thing on like the person,
right?
I think I'm more of a less more independent, but when I'm with them, I'm like very like
dependent on them.
But like if we're both busy, then I'm like I don't like always like constantly text them, or like if we're away, like,
right.
Yeah,
I think for me I'm a very busy mom, so obviously I do this podcast, I have a full-time job, I have 2 kids at home, I also have a second job, like I walk dogs and I take care of animals, and I also have my own social life. Like I have friends and I have family that I like to hang out with. Being somebody that's codependent, like I've always been dependent on other people. I'm starting to realize that I like, and being single on and off for some time, that I do value my own time. So when I do date people, I tell them, I say, hey, like, I would like for my partner to have their own life, because when they go and have their own life, I can have my own life.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't want somebody to be dependent on me, always wanting to be with me, always, because I value my own friends, I value my life, and I hope that they have their own activities, and hopefully at some point we can kind of combine our activities together, like do something that he likes to do or do something that I like to do. And it's very hard when you're a single mom, because I have my kids 50% of the time. So it's also, balancing a weekend where I don't have my kids. I can either choose to spend that weekend being at home, watching TV or visiting friends, or I could use that to, see my partner, right? And that's hard because the weekend after that, I have my kids. So that means if I don't see my partner this weekend, I won't see him for another 2 weeks. So, and I think that's also a challenge in dating, is because that's not really doable for somebody that wants a new relationship, that wants to see you all the time. It's something that's not sustainable. And I've gotten that a lot. Like, I can't just see you once every other week, or sometimes once a month, because I want to go out with my friends that weekend, or I have a girls' weekend. So it's really hard. And for somebody, and this might be TMI, but for somebody that craves intimacy, I do want intimacy every week,
Yeah.
But that's also hard. It is really hard to find that balance. But again, I think with the right person, if you really, really want to make that happen, with some type of creativity, you can make something like that happen. Yeah.
If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, if you want to do it. But again, I feel like if I think somebody in a relationship has to value their own time and their own friends and their own things, and hopefully find somebody that has their own things as well. What do you think about that, Kaidon?
But earlier you said you wanted someone obsessed with you.
I know, but on my time, on my time, right? Like, I mean, I don't want somebody like fucking like tailgating me and like following me. Yeah. And it's like, Isaiah, you mentioned like following location and stuff. Like, I don't want any of that. Like, you just have to trust me, you know, but I will, like, you know, I will, if that makes my partner feel safe, to let them know like, hey, I made it home okay from being out with friends, or hey, I made it to work okay. That's easy. But I mean, to follow locations and stuff like that, I feel like
locations for safety, you know, just in case you get kidnapped.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have friends that follow my location, but if I have a husband, then that's a different story. Then you can track me all you want.
Just wait till you get to that level, right?
Yeah, just wait till I get there.
And then you can unlock the achievement. So
right. I guess end this, like, what are your guys' like hopes for your Auntie Liza in the future?
I hope you do find someone perfect for you.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Thank you. I hope so too. I'm in no rush. I decided to take a full year off of dating to go find
How do you find people, by the way? Is it apps or is it?
You know what, Irene? So I've been on, so back up. I've been single for almost 3 years. I've been on the dating apps for 2 years. I've met wonderful people from there. I've been on
Which apps?
I primarily use Hinge. And
I don't know.
I don't want to say it's trash. I used to talk really, really bad about dating apps because I've been hurt by it. But again, I'm in that mindset now where, okay, I've met dope ass people. I've gone on some fun dates. I've learned from it. And I swore off of it for a full year. I said, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back there because everybody's crazy. Everybody cheats. Like, I was just very mad at it.
Damn.
But at the same time, like, you're like 30, 40, sometimes 50 years old. You really don't meet people out in the wild.
No, you just got to go where there's a lot of them and then just do like drop the book and you both pick it up at the same time.
No, yeah.
You gotta make those like, what do you call it?
Moves. You gotta have
unintentional, like the coincident, coincidental moves.
That's the thing. Those are like fairy tale things or things that movies like.
I know, but you're actually doing it, but they don't know that.
Yeah, but it's very hard to approach men, right? And I think it's the same way, right? And then it's funny at this age when you're looking, like when you see an attractive man, you have to look at their ring finger now and look for a wedding ring, right? But I really don't go out. When I do go out, I go out to the restaurant with friends and I'm not really looking for people. So it's very convenient to go on the apps. So, 2 weeks ago, I decided to go back on the apps. Just to see what's out there. I went on 2 dates. One of them was, with the guy that bought me my jacket. Thank you very much for my new jacket. And I think he's a new listener too. He loves the podcast. And I think one thing but one thing that I did, I'll put out there that I love that he did before he even met me was listen to several episodes. So he knew about me and knew of
So he was really obsessed.
No, he was not. I think he wanted to get to know me, or maybe he wanted to impress me. I don't know. So I gained a follower.
He cared enough to listen.
I gained a follower. We gained a follower, and I gained a new jacket.
Oh my god!
Sorry, Auntie Liza, you might have to go back.
This is a good guy,
I don't know. You know what? It might be something in the near future. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. But he was a great guy. He actually, plays Street Fighter and he has a Twitch. So I'll share it with you guys if you're interested.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
We're going to go in his chat.
Yo, you fumble, bro.
Yeah. So I'll share it with you. No, it's great. I didn't even know what Twitch was. He, plays Street Fighter. He has a little bit of a following. He's great. But anyways, so after that, I was a little bummed out that it didn't work out. But I decided to take a full year off. Like just because I'm 44 doesn't mean I should be in a rush. I shouldn't. And maybe I'll meet somebody out in the wild, or like Kaidon says, maybe I'll drop a book and he'll bend down and pick it up and we'll look at each other's eyes and be like, oh my god, he's the one. But I'm in no rush. I may or may not go back on the dating sites. Your mom has been wanting to do this dating show with me for a while now. And and
you should do that.
What do you guys think about that?
I think you should do it. It's really funny.
And so I might consider doing that. We'll see.
Who are you gonna Okay. Like,
Yeah.
PowerPoint presentation at a bar. I don't know.
Oh my god! Wait.
So would you guys be willing to help with that?
Wait, like at a
Over.
bar? Like what? I mean, what is it gonna be?
Come up with ideas. She had some really, really good
okay,
ideas.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
fine,
no,
yeah.
thank you guys for asking me these questions, and it's really making me dig deep within myself. And thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
have a great
Thanks for
summer,
sharing.
guys.
Yeah, you too, yeah.